At 17, one artist was offered everything on one condition: let them decide who she should be. She said no. And today, we're talking about what it takes to own your creativity, especially when the safest creative choice is to disappear into someone else's vision. Big Dreams and Little Things is the podcast for creatives, freelancers, and solo entrepreneurs who want to move forward one small step at a time. You make the world richer and more colorful, and we're the community that keeps you creating. Hey, and welcome back to Big Dreams and Little Things. I'm Maria, and of course, I've got the always awesome Karina with me. Hi, Karina.
Hi, Maria.
How's life treating you, and any fun chaos at your end lately?
Well, I've been away on spring break, so yes.
That's when you have no control of what's going to go on, right?
Yep, I have been playing like a 6-year-old, and I've been playing with my creative companions in Three Small Giants as well.
Of course, you had your gig on Saturday. How was it?
Yes, it was really nice. Really so much fun to get back into playing with them and playing these arrangements that we haven't done for a while.
Okay.
And I felt like I really want to go home now and do some new songs and some new arrangements and get started again. And we had a new bass player with us this time, and he is absolutely fabulous and great. So it was that fun, creative space that I wanted to be. You know, we talked a lot about starting Scrappy, and we talked a lot about those things. Do you know what I've been thinking about since the gig? Of course, that it was wonderful and fun and playing. But I've also been thinking about thighs and the critique inside. You know, I've gained some weight. I have a 6-year-old child. I'm in menopause. I'm fighting hormones. I've gained some weight, and I'm trying to lose it. And what am I seeing when I see the pictures? It's not like, oh, you know, the first thing, of course, is, does it sound okay? But the second thing is big thighs.
Oh
And it
my God.
pisses me off.
That shouldn't be the focus, should it? On your voice, the performance, how it's going.
And I was going to wear this skirt that I feel I look good in. And then I forgot the skirt at home, so I had to go with my pants that I had with me,
Okay.
which is fine.
Of course it is. Yeah.
But isn't it strange how we critique ourselves? And I think we do it more as women.
Yeah, I wonder the difference there. I think we probably pay more attention to all the little details. As, oh my God, I've gained 1 kilo or 2 kilos. And you feel it's coming from within, and we're always, as you say, critiquing ourselves. It's ridiculous.
It's so harmful. It's so harmful.
Yeah, it
And
is.
as performers, we want it to look good. I mean, we are larger than life in a little bit. So, of course, the critique is even harder. But still, you know, it pissed me off. But most of all, of course, it was a great night. It was fun. And Hannah was there, my daughter, and she was
That's
so good. I mean, we
great.
started playing it at 7 p.m. So,
Yeah.
and she's 6. So I was like, is this going to go okay? She sat until 9:30 like a little candle. You know, she was in a princess gown. So she was very
That's
pretty.
amazing.
Yes.
We're talking today about how for you to really express what's inside and without being so influenced with the world around you, what others are doing. And that's hard, right? Children have creativity so extremely naturally. And especially if I look at my youngest daughter, and she has a creativity that is just crazy, especially when she's with her best friend. Everything they do is creative. When they're painting, they're making up these characters, they're writing a book, they're writing a story, they're constantly coming up with songs. What happens? Obviously, I know hormones and teenage years, so you get more aware of the world and what everyone else thinks. But we're coming back to that. You know, you're looking at yourself from a different, when does that start, that judgmental? Because as children, we're so free in what we create. Seeing her, it's like, how do I help her carry that forward to adulthood?
For encouraging our children to create. And we did this too. As I said, it was spring break. So on Monday, we went to the library. I love the library here in Visby. And they had a dragons lunch thing for kids and parents.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we created dragons. Oh, I should show you. I have it here. So they showed us how to make dragons. Now that we have this on video, look here. Wow, wow. We did this.
Where's the fire? Where's the fire?
I know. The fire is here. It should be here. Oh. Okay. We had
Super
lots of
cool.
fun with that, and she
Yeah.
did another one, and they read dragon stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Tuesday, her best friend came over, and then I took them to there's a place here in Visby called Space for Creation. So both the girls came back with a T-shirt each, and Hannah did with stars and hearts and H's, for Hannah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty. It's great.
Yeah.
And she's good. She's, it was red and it was yellow. Yeah, she's definitely got some kind of artistic eye, much more than I do, with paintings and that kind of thing.
This week's story is about a Swedish artist who knew exactly where her creativity belonged. And it's the story of Robyn, the girl who said no and changed everything. Picture a school assembly in Stockholm, early 1990s. A 12-year-old girl with a cassette tape walks up to a microphone in front of her entire school. No nerves, no hesitation, just a kid who somehow already knew exactly who she was. Her name was Robyn Karlsson, and that day would change her life. A Swedish pop singer named Maria was visiting the school with her band for a workshop. After the performance, they asked if any student wanted to come up. Robyn walked on stage, announced her song, pressed play on her backing track, and sang her heart out. Maria later remembered being stopped in her tracks. The voice, the stage presence, the complete and utter confidence of a child who seemed born to do exactly this. Maria asked for her number, called her mother, and introduced her to the music industry. By 15, Robyn Karlsson, now known simply as Robyn, was signed to a record label. By 17, she had cracked the American top 10. Her debut album produced 2 Billboard Hot 100 top 10 singles, Show Me Love and Do You Know What It Takes. The world had a new teen pop sensation, and the machinery of the music industry was more than happy to put her in a box, wrap it with a bow, and sell it. There was just one problem. Robyn refused to stay in the box. As the late 90s rolled into the 2000s, her label wanted safe, radio-friendly, and predictable. But Robyn wanted to evolve. Her parents had run an independent theatre group in Stockholm, and she'd grown up in a world where dressing up, experimenting, and expressing yourself wasn't unusual. It was the whole point. That spirit was not something she was willing to trade away for chart positions. When her label, Jive Records, reacted negatively to the new electropop sound she was developing, she made a decision that most artists at her level would consider career suicide. She bought herself out of the contract and started her own label. She called it Konnichiwa Records. The name alone told you everything, playful and entirely hers. Here's where the story gets really interesting. Around that same time, Jive Records needed a new American teen pop star to fill the space Robyn had left behind. The head of the label described the new signing as an American Robyn, a Europop teen queen with an added dash of a girl next door. And that artist was easier to control than the forceful Swedish teenager. Her name was Britney Spears. Robyn chose herself, and the industry chose someone more compliant instead. Most people would call that a cautionary tale. What happened next proved it was the opposite. Her first album on Konnichiwa Records debuted at number 1 in Sweden. Then it broke internationally. Then, 2010, she did something no major label would have ever approved. She released 3 mini albums in a single year. The Body Talk Trilogy, a restless, ambitious burst of creativity that covered heartbreak and loneliness, and joy, and the very human need to dance through all of it. Dancing on My Own became an anthem of a generation because it didn't hide the heartbreak. It was raw, it was honest. Rolling Stone would later rank it as one of the greatest songs ever made. Critics said she helped make pop music a legitimate art form, that she placed synthpop on the same level as earnest, artsy acts and made indie nerds lighten up. Artists from Lorde to Charlie XCX to Taylor Swift have named her as an influence. She is, by almost any measure, one of the most important pop artists of the 21st century. And she got there by saying no. No to the label that wanted to control her sound. No to the safe path. No to the version of herself that was easier to sell. Robyn once talked about growing up in Sweden and how that shaped her. Tucked away from the center of the music world, she said, "You're always a little on the outside looking in. And that outsider perspective changes how you see everything." Maybe that's exactly what gave her the clarity that the industry lacked. She could see something they couldn't. That authenticity is not a liability, it's the whole product. The girl with the cassette tape at the school assembly never stopped being exactly that. Someone who walks to the mic knowing who she is, presses play, and sings her heart out. That's not just a pop career. That's a philosophy. I think everyone has their own relationship to artists and art, obviously. And I'm curious, Karina, where does the Robyn story land with you?
She's definitely an inspiration, I think, going her own way and being so encapsulated in her own vision. But she's also a very normal person walking the streets of, not walking the streets, but that you can actually meet in the streets of Stockholm. I actually have a memory of meeting her. I was crossing a street late at night, walking across the street, and then this car came and stopped, and I looked, and there she was. And I was like, oh, but that's, I think it's very Swedish that, we're not as fame hungry, or at least didn't used to be.
Yeah, that's probably changed.
It might have.
Yeah.
But I've never seen her seek out the limelight, like premieres, that kind of thing. I think she's very inspirational. But I can't help but also think of Britney and that tragic story of them, choosing Britney because she was easier to handle, and then what happened to her, and we don't know why it happened, but I guess Britney also started, to break free, and couldn't stay in the mold either, even though they wanted her to.
Yeah.
And I mean, unfortunately now it seems like she's given up performing, which I think is very sad.
But of course, you're going to have that urge of, it's going to come to a point, I'm sure, for most artists, when you feel like this is just not me anymore. But then if you've signed your life away to a record label that's telling you what to do, I can't imagine how hard that must be. Coming back to Robyn, I think she's an absolutely amazing performer, writer. I remember the very first time I saw her was at the Polar Music Prize, because when Björk was being awarded, and I saw her and I was blown away. She goes in and she just nails it in every way. She's still got the energy of herself. And she's just doing such an amazing performance of someone else's song.
Yeah.
I've seen her countless of times. I've seen her, she opened up for Madonna and Coldplay. I think other big artists see something in her as well. They see that free spirit and someone who just totally goes their own way, and they all really respect it.
And thinking about thighs,
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her. She was doing this sexistential thing now.
Yes, that's right.
The new single. And I saw her on stage, and she had this like body on with tights and and I mean, she looks perfectly fine, but she's no, model size kind of woman. Like she's no Ariana Grande, if you say that.
Exactly.
And but she is so sexy and so vibrant. No, I don't think she thought a minute about her thighs.
No,
She
no,
was just
no.
beautiful,
Yeah,
and that's the way it should be. I mean, I
yeah.
think it's yeah, she's wonderful and
She's really
such a
great.
humble person too. You know,
Yeah.
in her presence is she's.
Mhm.
I'm very impressed by her.
She's in the limelight when her music is there and for a reason, but she has no
Hmm.
need to always have her face plastered on the screen.
Yeah, it was funny. I saw on Instagram today there was a post. Uh, a young woman, a singer, and she had this, you know, all of these comments that you get, oh, so you're a singer. Well, you should apply for all those, the talent shows that are out there. Oh, so you're in Nashville, and maybe some big artists will come and discover you. I laughed when I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
it, and it's so true because it's all about the fame.
yeah. It
But
is these
music
days.
isn't
Yeah.
about the fame. Fame is the
No.
way to get heard.
Yeah,
It's not why
exactly.
we do it.
Yes, absolutely. That's that creativity that we need to express it. We need to
Mm.
have our outlet for it.
Like, yeah, it's frustrating because it's like
Yeah,
this is a job,
yeah,
but it's
it
also a
is.
passion.
Yeah,
I have to create. I have to do music. I
absolutely.
have to sing.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
don't do that, I am not happy.
No, I'm not a good person to be around, as I say.
No, you said it last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it
Yes.
doesn't work for me. There's actually science behind it as well. So let's
Yes.
listen to what the science says. Inside your brain, there's a network that only comes alive when you stop trying, when you daydream, when you let your mind wander away from deadlines, expectations, and the need to be seen. Scientists call it the default mode network, the DMN. It's the part of your brain where your original ideas are born, where your imagination lives, and where your creative voice, the one that belongs only to you, quietly waits. The moment you start creating for other people, performing for approval, trying to fit a mold, a different network takes over. The executive control network kicks in. It evaluates, it monitors, it asks, is it good enough? Will people like it? Does this fit? It keeps you safe and creative are not always the same thing. Safe can actually silence your DMN entirely. This is why imitation feels so natural. As children, we learn by copying. We mimic, we repeat, we play with patterns, and that's healthy. That's how we develop. But if imitation never evolves into something personal, if performing for others becomes the only mode you know, your brain quietly adapts. It starts producing what's expected rather than what's true, and slowly, without you even noticing, your originality begins to fade. Oof, that's scary, isn't it?
It is. So next episode, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Mhm.
Um, we're going to have a guest and, how to be uncomfortable
Mhm.
to stretch. Well, okay. So how do you find your way back? You give your DMN room to breathe. You experiment, you play, you make something with no audience in mind. Not for likes, not for validation, not for applause, just for the honest pleasure of making it. And here I'm thinking about social media and how we can make it a world of giving of ourselves rather than performing for likes.
Mm.
Because when you do that constantly, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing originality and start practicing honesty. Because when your DMN is leading, when you're creating from the inside out, your work develops something no imitation ever could. A resonance that is completely and unmistakably yours. There is a cost to performing for others. You might gain attention, even success, but without ever practicing your own creative voice, you risk something far greater than obscurity. You risk losing yourself. Your art becomes a mirror of someone else's expectations rather than a window into your own truth. Science is telling us something simple and profound here. Originality isn't about being first or boldest or most provocative. It's about trust. trusting your own instincts, listening to what your own mind is quietly trying to tell you, and giving yourself the permission and the patience to let that voice develop. When you stop performing and start practicing, when you move from I need to be original to I want to be honest, that is when your art becomes something no one else on earth could have made, because it came from the only place it could, you. I'm thinking about, when do you know when you're original? You know,
Yeah.
so much has already been invented and played and done.
Yeah. But you have to just trust, what's coming from you, your
Yeah.
creativity.
And we will always be inspired. I mean,
Mm,
there's so
mm,
much that we've heard and that we've seen that will
mm.
come through you, but you become the filter that it comes through, and your filter is unique.
Of
You know,
course it is. Yeah,
no one
of
else has
course.
that filter.
They don't. And of course, we're all influenced by what we've heard or what we've seen previously.
Mm.
I had a period of my life when I was probably in my 20s and I wanted to be cool and sound a certain
You
way. And
are
I must
cool.
say, I'm still cool. Yes, you're right.
Yes, you are. You're much cooler than me.
I guess that also comes with being in your 20s, not being quite sure of yourself, not knowing your place. So you're putting something little on. Not saying that what's come from inside is not true, but that's one of the amazing, wonderful thing about getting older is because I know who I am in a
Yeah.
completely different way.
I read this somewhere too this
Mm.
week, that it is kind of amazing, though, that when we become older, and
Hmm.
I've experienced this, I start also to look back to what I was and who I started out as, and I become more of that. You know what I mean?
I
You know,
do,
that
but
that initial flame that wasn't molded in the beginning, and then you go
mhm.
all through life, and then you kind of come to a place where it's like, I long for that original flame. Um,
Yeah, but I feel that never goes away. It's there, but you just don't give it as much time. Uh,
of course, yeah, sure, um, but it can be there more or less.
yeah,
But I think that Robyn, for instance, she seems to be so secure in her vision in some way,
yeah,
and I'm not
yeah.
always. I'm not always like that. Maybe
No,
because I have so many talents. I don't
yeah, yeah, that's it, Karina. You need to just nail down one and you'll
know.
be.
Yes. I was just thinking, what's your favorite Robyn song?
Ooh, it is Heartbeat. I really think so because I love Clairup's production on that
Hmm.
and it's so evocative. And I think what Robyn is really good at, she really gives you a feeling, a state of mind with her music.
Hmm.
And I absolutely love that song. How about
Hmm.
you?
I think for me, it's Be Mine.
Okay.
It had such an impact when it came out. Um, and then she did this song, I think it was the Grammys in Sweden, and she did it with strings. And I remember I was completely, I almost fell on the floor hearing it. I really love that song.
Here's a takeaway from this episode something simple and something just for you. We call it the Creative Voice Finder. And it starts with one question. What would you create if nobody was watching?
Not what you think you should create, not what performs well, not what fits the mold. What would you actually love to make?
We've come up with a simple one-page worksheet, 3 sections, 10 minutes of your time. Section 1, the unmolding. Write down 3 things you stopped creating or expressing because of outside opinion. No judgment, just honesty. And section 2, the DMN space. Write down when and where you feel most like yourself. Maybe it's morning walks, late nights, long showers. That's where your creative voice lives. And protect that time.
And section 3, your creative constitution. 3 sentences that begin with the words, my creativity is. My creativity refuses. My creativity belongs to.
You can find it at ektahub.net or grab it in the show notes. Now it's time for Backstage Community. And that's where we shine light on the creatives, freelancers, and solo entrepreneurs who make this world more colorful. Today, it's Karina's time. So I've got 4 questions for you, Karina. Who are you and what do you do?
I just read this word online. I'm a multi-expressionist. I do many different things, but I am a singer, songwriter at heart. And then I'm also a professional coach working with people. And I love to touch people, make people feel something. And I also love to perform and to meet my audience face to face. So live is really my primary setting.
What keeps you creating right now?
Right now, I am working on some new material of my own and also for Three Small Giants, which is my trio. And I am working on the Victorine musical play that I've talked about earlier here on the podcast. It's been laying low for a while because I've been focusing on other things, but that is something that I really, really want to finish now and get to the stage. That story about creativity and women in history. It has to come from the heart. It has to come from within for me to really connect with it. So if I take on a song that might not have been written by me, I always, go through it and try to find what it means to me.
What do you wish more creatives talked about honestly?
I think we should talk more about what it actually means for us to create. That it is really part of who we are, and it's part of being human. That the beauty in our world, in our life, comes from art and creativity. Without that, our whole world would really be so gray. Take away music, take away art, take away beautiful architecture. What do we have? Robots. So I think we need to talk more about how important it is for its own sake. But there's an innate power in creating that we have as humans that we need to talk more about.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the lines as we define as us, you make the world richer and more colorful, talking to all creatives.
Yeah.
And how do you celebrate those wins?
A nice
Oh,
icy glass of champagne
yeah.
is lovely. But it can also be a cup of tea. It can be
No.
to dance a while, put on a nice song and just, it has to be physical in some way, I think. The yes, or the, celebrate with the whole spirit and the whole body. And I remember my first album when that came out and just holding it in my hand and just, that tangible thing. It's like, I did this. We need to celebrate more, I think.
Yeah.
Have a party.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, there's a few things that we want you to carry with you from today. Your creativity is not a talent. It's not like you either have it or you don't. It's your voice. And like any voice, it needs space, honesty, time, and practice to actually be heard.
The world will always have opinions about what you should make, how you should sound, what fits and what doesn't. And that's never going to stop. But you get to decide how much of that you let in.
She bought herself out of it. She built her own label, stamped it with her own name, and she made some of the most honest music in her generation. And that surely was not luck. That was decision.
And the science backs it up. We know that now. When you create from the inside out, when you give your DMN the space it needs, something shifts. Your work stops being a performance and starts being a truth.
Next time, in a couple of weeks, what's happening then?
A very, 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 very cool episode, I think. We're going to talk about stretching the comfort zone, breaking boundaries, and we're going to have a guest. It's Patrik Lindqvist. He is a graphic designer as well as a beautiful songwriter and singer as well. And he's actually the one that has helped us recreate our look with the logo and the style around it that you now see that we're using. And he has just written a book called Oh Shit! He's a really interesting person as well, always willing to go that extra mile to stretch boundaries and be a little bit of uncomfortable in order to grow. So don't miss that episode.
And as always, don't forget celebrating. What's your win this week? Even a tiny one. Follow us on social media at Big Dreams and Little Things. And remember, as we always say, show up.
Speak up.
And never miss the victory dance. Thank you for listening to Big Dreams and Little Things.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
Bye.